feel like the moral choices in this game are maybe a bit harsh. Hello, I'm Matt, and I want to tell you about Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. It's a story-driven puzzle game that's set in a spooky hotel in the middle of nowhere. And if you missed it, it came out eons ago in May of 2024. It has nothing to do with superpowers, mirrors reflect you perfectly, and you can pet the dog. Now, I went into this game knowing nothing about it, and I was surprised with the fascinating mystery that grasps at the true value and meaning of art, regret, trauma, and coffee. There's a lot of coffee. It left me feeling things that I don't normally get from games, and on the whole, I think it's genius. The nature of the game necessitates spoilers, however, and I'll do my best to avoid the biggest ones. I'll start with the gameplay. It's simple to control and move around. At its core, you're a lady exploring a hotel and solving puzzles. Lots of puzzles, many different kinds of puzzles. You do puzzles based on math, clocks, mazes, perspective, the Greek alphabet, Roman numerals, point-and-click adventure games, short-term memory, and eventually a crazy meta-puzzle that encompasses all the knowledge you've gained throughout the entire game. It's all very satisfying, and it does a great job of providing a reasonable challenge most of the time. And it also makes you feel smart, giving you that sweet, sweet dopamine hit that really makes this kind of game successful. I'm telling you, every time I opened the children's shortcut puzzle book and solved a math problem successfully, I felt like the smartest guy in the room no matter how simple the puzzle actually was. Don't even get me started on when I finally figured out how to turn on the supercomputer. Look at this monster. You need to complete the entire rest of the game to have any hope of deciphering it. I think the gameplay is almost perfectly paced. You solve a puzzle and you walk around the hotel more. You think about your next move and all the puzzles you've seen but you haven't solved yet. That's common in this game. You'll encounter a keypad or a weird clock or a printer. You won't have a clue what to do and you'll have to come back later. You get intimately familiar with this crazy layout of this 3-story hotel. You have to take the elevator to get to this one part of the basement, and you have to jump through a broken floor to get into the chapel. I guess Jesus won't mind. Speaking of Jesus, I really don't understand why this is the answer to this puzzle. And I've read the Bible. The presentation of this game is very strange. I'm just going to quote the devs on how they made the visuals. The studio wanted to create a 3D collage, a fragmented memory world, and therefore combined various visual styles including photographs, low polygon geometry, line rendering, and distinct sharp shading on higher res characters. Then there's a 5 for some reason. According to Simon Flesser, the game's director, the team wanted to evoke a constant feeling of ambivalence and a sense of absurdity in which the players will begin to question what is happening due to the peculiar scenarios presented in the game's story. The end result looks strange and haunting, but also kind of beautiful. There's plenty of surreal images that will stick with you. It's all done in grayscale except for the striking bits of red you encounter. Every time something is red, it's important and possibly supernatural. Red looks alien in this drab landscape, and it often means something really bad happened here. As you continue the game, red becomes more and more common, overtaking the relaxed grayscale as you get closer to the truth. Eventually, you'll be answering trivia at gunpoint in a red maze. I don't know this guy's phone number that I'm being asked about, so this feels like a reasonable punishment. The story of this game is doled out to you slowly, through bits of notes, dialogue with an increasingly creepy man who leaves red footprints wherever he goes, and physical tableaus that you'll encounter as you advance. It's the story of the Third Eye, a magical artifact that brings ruin to humanity, but also fosters art and creativity to unimaginable levels. There are several different stories of humans courting the power of the Third Eye, and it's possible that we ourselves are here at this hotel right now to search for it. In the process, we're caught up in the memories of the past, the years 1847 and 1963 becoming larger than life, as we start to learn about the dark things that took place in those years here in this ancient hotel. You'll find news clippings, police reports, books and interviews, all addressing the events that occurred here, and you'll start to ask yourself, what year it's even supposed to be right now? No, seriously, we've got phone books, rotary phones, very modern cameras, a 60s supercomputer, and an honest-to-God traveling magician wagon from the 1800s. What is even going on? And then you find yourself lost in the red maze, chased by men with mazes for heads, interviewed in suspect holding cells at gunpoint. What's real? What's magic? It's hard to say. You realize you're not even sure who the player character is or why she does what she does. You traverse back and forth between the hotel and red places that feel oppressive and foreboding and otherworldly. You begin to understand the title and what laser eyes have to do with it. They can represent seeing into the supernatural, like when your character's eyes turn red and let you enter the maze. They can represent computers, creating art and worlds that don't truly exist. And they can represent hindsight, the ability to look back on your life with pinpoint laser focus, know exactly where you went wrong. We all have regrets. We all have laser eyes. And then sometimes you get stuck on a puzzle because you didn't realize you could rotate the children's toy block to put it in the painting of one of the four horsemen. And you could have done it hours ago. The game is non-linear and you can solve the puzzles in practically any order, so I'm sure it isn't uncommon for players to have a moment near the end where it hits them that they could have solved something so long ago that they practically forgot about it. And I think that's brilliant too. Yes, it's a puzzle game where you fiddle with locks and look at paintings and boxes, but it's also an incredible experience if you let yourself be drawn in. I really only have one complaint, and that's that this game could really benefit from a dedicated back button. They committed to this sort of one button interface where you just use one button to confirm everything, so you're constantly having to back out of menus by scrolling over to the X and confirming that you want to leave the menu. You can see this one button interface being used in the actual game on the laser eye system that you can play prototype versions of the game on, which help you solve different puzzles based on error codes. It's a whole thing. And you can see it on the Game Boy analog, the bite size that's in your main menu once you find it. You can play little Game Boy games on the bite size, but they're not really important and they don't affect the plot at all. Anyway, back to the one button issue. It's not really a deal breaker, but I do think the game would benefit from this sort of quality of life change. It's not that big of a deal. I don't like to nitpick, and I really do think this game is great, and I hold the devs in high regard for what they've done. I just feel like this one little thing would be so nice. So full disclosure, all the footage you see here in this video is from my second playthrough of the game, after I decided I wanted to talk about it and I wanted to get the speedrun achievement for finishing it under 10 hours. The puzzles remain the same in concept, but vary up the actual questions and answers. I still had to try, and here's an actual picture of all the notes I took on paper while I did this. I really wished I could wipe my mind and play it again for the first time, but that didn't stop the ending from remaining gripping and profound. Play Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. It's dripping with atmosphere and it's filled with the kind of detail that lets you know that someone actually cared about this project and wanted to make it. Yes, it's a commercial product to be sold, and you can get it on Steam or GOG for a reasonable price, but it's also art. It's an intelligent use of the medium of video games to tell a gripping story while also being entertaining to interact with. It's kind of like a living art exhibit you might see at a museum. And if my semester of art appreciation in college taught me one thing, it's that we should appreciate art. I'll be watching, Simogo. I won't bet it this time. Hey, thanks for watching. This is my first video and I enjoyed making it. Please like and subscribe or suggest interesting games for me to play. I'll try almost anything and leave any feedback you have for me. Thanks.